Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Phoenix Hour. This is our second edition of the Phoenix Hour, where we talk to the illustrious development team of the Phoenix Viewer, which is Second Life's lead and probably one of the most amazing viewers out there. When I came in today, I promised that I was going to make my entrance singing "Happy Days Are Here Again." Unfortunately, time didn't allow for that. So you get, just a picture of my mug sitting up here. Anyway, we're going to move right along because we did get a bit late start today. And obviously you'll see some familiar faces up here, and you'll see some new faces up here as well. Of course, we're going to start with the always lovely Jessica Lyon, who is the project manager of the Phoenix Viewer. Hello, Jessica.
Friendly greetings.
Friendly greetings! Oh my God, where have I heard that before? It's so good to see you again, Dylan.
We have a lot to talk about today. And I suppose we should probably start with introductions. Although most people already know who everybody is. I should give you a warning, I do have a cold and will be clearing my throat regularly. So to my left is Lord Greg, and he is our Windows lead. To his left is... Oh, sorry, go ahead. To his left is TechWolf Lupindo, and he is our Linux lead developer. To the left of him is Vortex Sato, who is our infrastructure lead and deals with all the stuff in the background, Jira, email system, all that kind of fun stuff. To his left is Ed Merriman, who is our support team lead, and to his left is Pixel Prophet Lane, who is our German support lead. And up above my right shoulder, up on a perch, is a new avatar called, and this is Phoenix Viewer Donations last name Memo. And I wanted to introduce him because a lot of people asked when we did our donations last month if they could donate in Linden's. And so we've made this account, and I wanted to introduce this avatar to people so that you know that this does belong to the Phoenix development team, and any money that goes to it comes to us. And the lovely avatar is actually free for Phoenix users to go and purchase for 0 lindens, providing you are on Phoenix 3.7.3, our latest release. And it's created by Tanitri Mistral of Axe Avatars. And you can probably right-click on his feathers and pull up the profile and find the sim. And you have to have media running to be able to get that avatar.
Lovely, that's beautiful.
Yeah, it is very well done. And it's a great incentive for our users to update.
I'm hoping about right now that it's litter box trained or something, because I tend to be sitting at an unfortunate angle.
Okay, so...
That's what I was afraid of, Worley. That's what I was afraid of.
So we'll start with, I guess, the announcements. So first thing on the list. Actually, Andy, yes, this avatar does do flames and lays an egg as well. It's pretty clever. So we have a new website, and we've had some mixed reviews, but overall everybody seems to like it. It is certainly 110% better than what we had up there. Our website does have some bugs currently, and in fact I think we have 1 or 2 names listed on the support team that actually aren't on the support team anymore. So there's some things that it still needs some work. Have patience with us if you can. We also have a, and on the website is our blog. And this is, if you guys want to keep up to date with what we're doing, keep an eye on our blog, and you can subscribe to it through RSS feed. And we also have a new Twitter account. Officially is Phoenix Viewer SL on Twitter. And you can feel free to go ahead and follow that account, and we will follow you in return. And we will also, anything that we blog post on the website, we will also make a blog on the Twitter account. So what else? An important thing that's coming up today, in fact, right after this office hour, we're going to be blocking 2 viewers. We're blocking viewer 1.5.0.1 and 1.5.0.0. These viewers are our first releases that we ever put out back in the day. They're horribly broken. They have a terrible crash rate. And they have a lot of bugs. And we have 20,000 users that are still running on those 2 viewers. And so it seems that people don't want to update to better releases. And so we apologize to those of you who are running those builds. We will be blocking them. And you guys will find a huge improvement on our 2.2.5 version or our 3.7.3 version. And so I hope that everybody will update before we actually perform that block. We have a Halloween party coming up. So Ed Merriman has been generous enough to donate his sim for a day. It will be October 30th. We don't have a time yet. We will have a live DJ, and most of the devs here will be in costume. I know I certainly will. And we expect that the sim will probably crash several times because everybody will try to get in, and hopefully we can accommodate. Okay, gestures.
Holy crap, it talks too.
No, that wasn't the avatar. I don't know what that was.
Okay.
Somebody playing a gesture somewhere. What else? So yeah, big Halloween party. It's going to be a great time. We'll have a live DJ, and hopefully everybody can come in costume, hopefully without too many scripts on. The sim will be announced as we get a little bit closer. The sim is highly decorated in Halloween attire and is quite adventurous, and if you want to wander around. What else? So another thing that we're working on is there's been a lot of confusion because we have a bunch of different Windows releases. We have SSE2, we have non-SSE2, we have LAA, which is large address aware, and a lot of people have a lot of confusion with that. And so what we're going to be doing for our next release is looking into hopefully providing one download that will take a look at your system and determine which one to install for you, and we'll install it. You will, of course, have the choice to tell it that it's wrong and download whatever one you want, but we're hoping that this is going to solve a little bit of confusion for our users. And speaking of new releases, we have a huge release in the works. Big changes coming, and we're very excited about it. I'm going to give you guys a sneak peek at what we're doing. So one of the biggest changes people will see is a multi-attachment system from Viewer 2. So currently the viewer uses what we call secondary attachment points, which is a bit of a hack. And it's flawed. So only people that are running viewers with secondary attachment points can see your attachments that you have attached to a secondary attachment point properly. So it's hacky, and so for example, if you attach your hair to your skull, to your secondary skull attachment point, people on the Linden Lab viewer, for example, will see your hair floating out in front of you about 2 feet, but it looks fine to you, and it'll look fine to anybody else that's running, a viewer with that attachment system. We're going to be doing away with that because we think that the Linden Lab Viewer 2 attachment system is much better, and it allows you to attach up to 38 attachments anywhere on your avatar. So you can attach 5 or 6 or 10 or 38 pairs of hair on your skull. So it's certainly a better system than the attachment point, than the existing system that we're using. It's going to cause some problems for users, though, and I'm going to come back to that, and I'm going to explain to you how that's going to affect you guys. So we are also doing clickable links in group notices, finally, and believe it or not, that was very easy to do. We have a built into the viewer media player And this media player will let you, basically it's kind of like having iTunes or Winamp built into your viewer, and you can upload your music to the viewer, and you can have playlists, you can play videos, things like that. Very exciting stuff. In fact, you can, it was just tested today with one of our devs at this very show, that you can watch the live stream through the media player for this show. And so that's very exciting. We've got some big build floater, build tools improvements. And we're going to let you guys wait and see what those will be. We have WinLight note cards. So what WinLight note cards is, we're not the first to have it. In fact, we're a bit behind. It's been highly requested. And so we've gotten that into our viewer now. And for those of you that don't know what it is, WinLight note cards, so when you change your environment settings to sunset or to pirate or any of the hundreds of different settings that there are in the WinLight settings, this lets you save it to a type of note card. And you can then send that note card to somebody else. And all they have to do, if they're on the Phoenix viewer with that support, is double-click that card, and suddenly they have the same WinLight settings as you do. And so they see the environment the same way that you do. So you can share your settings for WinLight. What we're looking into anyways is also giving estate owners the ability to send WinLight settings to their users or to their visitors that enter their sim. So, for an example, you enter a sandbox, or you enter a sim like a Halloween sim, and the estate owner has, this WinLight setting that they've set up, so it suits the decorations in the sim just right, and they can have a box which will send that WinLight note card to everyone that visits the sim, and that user will get a prompt to ask them if they would like to use those WinLight settings, and if they click yes, then they will see the sim exactly as the estate owner wants them to see it. So some really big things in the works, and we're very excited. We have quite a few other things coming as well. But I think what we need to do now is get back to the inventory link system. So anybody who's logged into Viewer 2 and then changed their outfit in Viewer 2 and then logged back into Phoenix or any other viewer will notice that you're wearing a different outfit when you come back to a different viewer. And this is because Viewer 2 inventory system works quite a bit different. And it's been a huge job to get it working just right into Phoenix, and it still has some bugs we're working on. The other thing, because the system is different, when you first log into our updated viewer with version 2 inventory links, you might find your attachments a little bit funky. They may not be rotated properly or attached in the right places. And it will be a fairly quick transition, but not totally painless, a little bit of growing pains. You'll have to probably detach your attachments and then reattach them. And readjust them in some cases. So one thing I might suggest to people is, and we're going to have, some big announcements, and we'll make it very public so that people understand what's going to happen before they log into this viewer. But it will be good if, before you log into this viewer, that you just detach your attachments first before you log in. It shouldn't cause too much grief. It should be fairly straightforward for most people. I've done some tests. We've all done some tests with multiple attachments worn when we go from one to the other. And I don't know where that's coming from. Is that coming through on the stream, I wonder?
Yes, I can definitely hear it.
It's not me.
It's not this moa bird up here above me.
It's not the bird either. I don't think. If it is, it's the first time the bird has made that noise, so. Maybe it's stage shy or camera huggy. So another thing that users are going to find with this new inventory system is they will have an outfits folder. And anything that you're wearing, inventory links. So inventory links includes the outfits folder, and that will contain links to whatever you're wearing. So if you're wearing a shirt in some other folder in your clothing folder or somewhere in there, there's going to be a link to it in the Outfits folder, and you can use that folder to detach things. The Outfit folder is a Viewer 2 folder, which we are pushing into. It needs to be pushed into Phoenix, into this next release, in order for inventory links to work properly. And there's also a Favorites folder, although I'm not sure if we've got that fixed yet or if we will. We'll have to see. There's quite a bit of stuff going on right now. And there's current outfit. And also there's going to be some changes to the right-click menus that you get that say Add to Outfit, Where, what are some of the other ones? So we have to make some changes to those so that people understand what they mean, because it works differently. And so there's going to be a bit of a learning curve there for people. But I think what we'll do before we release it is we'll make sure that we have a really nice, big, informative wiki page for everybody. And hopefully people will read it and understand before they log into it. In the long run, it's to the advantage of everybody. And I will say that other third-party viewers are also going to be putting this system into their viewer. So that, because there's a bit of a problem when you come from a viewer that uses version 2 inventory system to a viewer that doesn't, it causes problems back and forth. Just like Viewer 2 caused problems when you went to Viewer 2 and then come back to Phoenix, there's usually attachment problems, outfit problems. And so most of the third-party viewers, from what I understand, are also in the process of adding this system. And this is basically going to help all the users who want to go from Phoenix to Imprudence to Emergence and so on. And so yeah, some really big things coming in this next release. We're really hoping that people will update to it. We have a lot of people on old viewers that are crashy. Those two that we're blocking today are just two of them. We've got quite a few others that we're going to be blocking at some point soon. And because we want people on the most stable releases that we have with the newest features that we have. And with this next release that's coming out, it's very, very important that people update to it. Because it's going to be hard to support, because basically support is going to need to know if people have inventory problems, they need to know what viewer they're on, specifically to know how to help them. Now, I hope I haven't made that sound too scary, because it's actually a great thing, and it's also going to help people when they transition from Phoenix to Firestorm, to our Viewer 2 version, which is going to be in the works very soon. We have started looking at it, doing some work at it, and kind of coming up with a game plan with what we can do with the UI and so on. Sorry, I'm just reading text here. Right, so for those of you who don't know, phoenixviewer.com is our website. We've had a couple, we've discovered there's a couple websites out there that are cloning us and trying to look just like us. And we don't know if it's malicious or not. I just want to make sure and make people understand it's very important that if you're downloading a viewer from us, make sure you're downloading it from phoenixviewer.com. Make sure you are on that website and not on some other URL that looks just like us. And I think that's, I think I pretty much covered it. Until we get to the questions, of course. At least that part of it. So there's a couple things that I expect people are going to ask me today, and there's a couple things that I'd like to discuss that aren't announcements. First of all, so a lot of people have noticed that our betas that we put out are password protected. And I would like to explain why we password protect our betas. So we have a fantastic QA team. They test our betas and make sure that all the bugs are ironed out. And generally the betas are pretty broken and have a lot of issues. So we password protect our betas because we don't want everybody downloading broken viewers. And I'll tell you what happens is that they fill up our support team and take up all their time because, well, you know, this isn't working, that's not working. Well, we know it's not working because it's a beta. You know, we've got a beta team who's there to report these bugs. But when people download betas, they're reporting bugs and want them fixed by our support team. And these are things that the development team have to fix, not something that support can do. And so it really ties up our support team in a big way. And in doing so, it makes it very hard for our support team to give support to the people who are on our official builds. So this is one of the main reasons why we password protect our betas. It's not because we don't want people on bleeding edge code. In fact, if anybody wants, if you know how, and there's lots of tutorials on the web around what you can learn how to compile from our source code, and you can compile those betas yourself from our repository off of our website, and you're free to do that. But we do have a little pop-up that says that this viewer is not made by Phoenix. So if you compile our code yourself, you will notice that there's a message comes up, this viewer is not made by Phoenix, we cannot provide support for it. And the reality is because you're building from code that's probably broken and is alpha, in fact, untested. And you know, all these things. So it's a matter of QA. It's a matter of providing quality for our users and providing support for our users. We don't want to have our support team tied up with people that are on broken builds simply because it's not an official release. And so I hope that makes things a bit clear for people. So I'll go on to the next thing. Is a little while ago, there was a DDoS that went on against hundreds of service providers across the internet by some rogue team of hackers or crackers or script kiddies or whatever you want to call them. Our provider was one of the ones that got hit by that. It wasn't actually DDoS against Phoenix, but against the provider who gives us our server. And so what happened is it took down our website. So we have a file on our website that gets downloaded when you log into or open the viewer. And what that does is, one of the things in that file, it has tag colors in that file. It has the names of our support team on that file, and it has the names of our developers on that file and their avatar keys. And if anybody opens up my profile and looks under payment info, you'll see it says Phoenix developer. And if you open up a profile from someone on the support team, it says Phoenix support. And that's what that data on that file is doing, is basically sending you that so that you see that in our profiles. One of the other things that it does is it checks to see if you are on an official release, or if you're on compiled source code that you've made yourself. And if you're on source code that doesn't match one of our releases, then you'll get that message that says this viewer is not made by Phoenix. Now, when our website went down, we were supposed to have a fail-safe there that if that file wasn't available, that message wouldn't come up. Unfortunately, the fail-safe failed, and a lot of people got the message saying this viewer is not made by Phoenix. And there was quite a bit of panic about it. And I can safely say that we have fixed that, and we have fail-safes for the fail-safes now, and it won't happen again in the next release of the viewer. But 3.7.3 will always be there, unfortunately. So basically, just don't panic. If you're on a release that you've downloaded from our website and you see that message, don't worry about it. Just ignore it. And finally, one last thing, and I think I'm right about good on time here. Support. So we have 22 dedicated support people. We have multiple languages that we support as well. Multiple support groups. We have a fantastic support team. We have, our main support group, which has, I think it's about 5,200 people in right now, and it's growing exponentially every day. And this support group and the other support groups, one of the things I wanted to make clear for people is that, first of all, our support people don't make money. They donate their time and deal with angry people all day because they like helping people. And in our support group, there's a lot of people asking questions, needing help. And sometimes support people are online, and they're even in the group, but they're not responding. And we get complaints from people saying that, I'm being ignored by support and so on. So I just want to make it clear so people understand. Support people are dealing with, we have about 65,000 unique logins per day, with 22 people providing support for those people. If someone in the support team is not answering you in a support group, chances are they probably have about 10 or 15 IMs open, and they're dealing with people in IMs. Sometimes the best way to get support is to message a support person directly. And if you still can't get their attention, we have a support ticket system on our website. And it's a fantastic support ticket system. And we have, I think, what is it really, about 1 or 2 days before tickets are looked at, and sometimes within the hour. So we really, we handle our support tickets very quickly. And so you can get there by Jira, JIRA.phoenixviewer.com. You do have to sign up and make an account, and we would ask that you use your first and last SL name, but don't use your SL password, please. And once you've signed up and you get your confirmation email, you can go in there and you click Create Issue and then Support Type, and then you go in there and explain the problem that you're having. Within a day or two, someone from support will get back to you and get you all fixed up. So I have to say, I have to commend support team, because the amount of support we provide for the users, we've got twice the size of the support team from what Linden Lab has, from what I'm told. We handle our support tickets within a day or two. Last I heard, Linden Lab support is a week or something like that. So, they're to be commended, and I do hope that people appreciate how busy they really are. And with that, I will pass it back to Phelan.
That was incredible. Absolutely incredible. And I'm sure that this audience is buzzing with questions. Just to recap briefly, we've had some pretty exciting bombshells dropped on us today with some of the amazing changes coming to the viewer, including some previous viewers that are going to be blocked entirely, which should be motivation enough to move on to the exciting features that are included in the future viewer.
I forgot to mention something.
Please go ahead. Absolutely.
I can't believe I forgot to mention. I must have skipped right over it in my notes. The Phoenix Viewer Project is incorporated. We are a nonprofit. We are an organization. This happened about a week and a half ago. It was official. And I can't believe I skipped over this. So Phoenix Viewer, and it's kind of, the acronym is kind of ironic. The Phoenix Viewer Development Project, which stands for the third-party viewer policy. It kind of has the same letters, but no pun intended. Just an explanation quickly of what that means. So being incorporated means that the project exists separately from the people that make it up. So basically the project is a person in itself. It is its own entity. And this will basically ensure that even if the rest of us die or rage quit or something along those lines, the Phoenix Viewer Project will continue. So this helps to ensure the future of the Phoenix. And the Phoenix Viewer the project can actually own things now. Right now, for example, the server belongs to me in my name. Now that we're incorporated, I can transfer that server over to the Phoenix. So basically the Phoenix project owns the server and is billed to the Phoenix Viewer Project. It means that we are tax exempt, so we're not going to pay taxes on any income that we receive. And finally, it will ensure that we have a governance structure so that the way that we make decisions and act and do things is defined clearly and in a legal way. And this helps new developers that come into the project to get a heads up quickly on how things go. And these are the rules, So incorporated. That's huge. Okay, sorry, Phelan, back to you.
No, that's fine. That's enormous news. Is sort of the icing on the cake, along with everything else that you've announced today, such as the multi-attachment system, the inventory links, which I know are going to make a lot of people really excited, the new outfits folder, the clickable links and group notices, and the client-side built-in media player, and the build floater improvements. All of that combined with the upcoming release, the current release, and the discontinuation of past viewer releases. We're going to get to your questions. Ladies and gentlemen, if you have questions, you're here with us in the studio audience, you're watching by remote, please feel free to send me your questions either in world via IM or via Cover It Live on Phoenix.Rezzed.TV. Also, just to punctuate what Jessica had stated with regards to the Twitter account, which you can follow on Twitter, please be sure that it is Phoenix Viewer SL that you are following. That is the only official Twitter for the Phoenix Viewer. All right, and ladies and gentlemen, we're going to pass it off to a 30-second sponsor message, and we will be back right after this.
The most haunted event in WWE history. Virtual Wrestling Entertainment brings you 6 Feet Under. Live October 22nd, only on Rezzed.TV.
Controlling the minds of the innocent. Sing
Welcome back, everybody. Thank you so much. We are back with the Phoenix Viewer Development Team. We're going to be taking audience questions now. And as you can see, they've got a lot to say. A lot to say. So what we're going to do, there's been some very significant announcements made today with regards to the Phoenix Viewer and its evolution. Some exciting things are happening. So what we're going to do is go immediately to a question from Wolf Baginski Bearsfoot. Can I just tell you, Wolf Baginski, that you have the most epic name on the face of the grid? Congratulations. That's amazing. Question observation. With the multi-mode Windows install, will help about report which option is being run, SSE2 and so on. So this question confuses me a little bit. Will help about report which option is being run?
So I'm going to let Greg answer that.
Go for it, Greg.
Greg, you got voice?
Yes, I do. As far as I know, it does not actually show up in there. It does show what version of MSVC it was built with, but whether it's built with SSE2 or SOC1 or LRA, that information isn't included there yet. That might be a good idea just to give people a heads up, so I'll think about adding that. But so far, no. The only way to know that is through your installer.
I think that would be good to add, though. Yeah, absolutely.
Thank you, Wolf Baginski. I appreciate your question/observation. Obviously, that's why hours like this are incredibly important, because your inquiries make the Phoenix Viewer better. So we're going to go to Aphrodite One Delight. Yes, darling, you're supposed to send me the questions. And her follow-up question is, will there be an update to the profile so the web page and interest tabs either make it more useful or do away with them altogether?
I'm not sure I understand that question.
You know how we can pull up the profile? We can look at it. There's an interest tab for somebody. They're saying that they find some of the content that's listed in the profile a bit redundant or unnecessary altogether. Will there be any changes made to user profiles?
Oh, right. Okay, well, that's fairly easy to explain, to go into. The answer is going to be no. Probably not. Right now this is what we're working on, and I know I keep saying this, it sound like a broken record. We are trying to get our best release of the Snow Globe code base as we can. Then we're moving to Viewer 2. And so other than bug fixes, if this is the release, if this next one is the release, and I pray that it's the release, and I do believe it is, and we're throwing in a whole bunch of new features for you guys to play with, so you have something in the meantime while we work on our Viewer 2, our Firestorm project. And so we're probably not going to be doing very much more changes, and profiles is likely not something we're going to work on because, quite frankly, from what we understand, Linden Lab is changing profiles completely anyways, and it will be deprecated in quick time. So the answer with that would be no.
Okay, moving on. We've got a question from Andy Azov. Andy asks, they were talking with a developer of a third-party viewer, and it was explained to him that with the later integration of Mesh, older viewers will become completely obsolete. So only Viewer 2-based viewers will be usable by early next year. And they'd like to know if that's true.
This is essentially true. Again, this is one of the reasons why we have to get working on our Viewer 2, our Firestorm project. Because so anything that's not Viewer 2 code base that has the Mesh code in there is not going to be able to see Mesh objects. And Mesh objects is, it's right around the corner. Linden Lab has it on the beta grid now, and although it has lots of bugs, it will be out, and it will be on the main grid within a couple months, maybe 2 or 3 months. And at that point, people that are on viewers that aren't Viewer 2 based are not going to be able to see Mesh, period, including Phoenix. We're not going to be able to port that code into Phoenix because it's intertwined with everything, and it would be a monumental task to do, and it just wouldn't be worth it for us to spend that much time on this code base again while we can be working on Viewer 2 on our Firestorm viewer and have that out so people can see Mesh. However, tentative news from what I'm hearing last night is that third-party viewers may not be able to include the ability to upload Mesh into their viewer. And so this is very disappointing, and we're going to have to find a little bit more about this as we go. This is just what I hear from people. It's not official. We're waiting to get official word from Linden Lab that this is the case. And if this is the case, then if you want to upload Mesh, you'll have to log into the Linden Lab viewer, upload your Mesh. And if you want to come back to Firestorm, then you can come back to Firestorm.
That would be detrimental. So few people, such a minority actually use Viewer 2. So that would be a grave handicap for people who enjoy the options.
I'm disappointed, and I hope it's not true. Like I say, it's a rumor. I'll make that clear. It is a rumor until we hear, directly official word from Linden Lab. It is a rumor, but it's starting to look that way.
Well, we'll keep watch on that and let you know as soon as we hear straight from the horse's mouth. So stay tuned to future Phoenix Viewer office hours, ladies and gentlemen. Just moving on to Andy's follow-up question. On the build menu, if you select an item with lights, it has a huge ball around it. Can we get rid of this? It's rather annoying.
Oh, that's a setting you have.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Pixel.
Oh, right. You just have to go to the tools menu at the top and then uncheck show light radius for selection.
There you go, Andy. I hope that answers your question. We're moving on to Julie Veld, who asks, can you please remove the block on setting draw distance by use of gesture?
Right, okay. Actually, I'm glad that you brought that up. So, one of the things that you did...
I should handle that one, because I'm familiar with that one since I put the code in there.
Okay, yeah, if you want to handle it.
Yeah, the deal is that when I originally put the code in there, it was it's called progressive draw distance. It was something that was better than all those gestures that were out there. In fact, there's quite a few freebie gestures out there too. And all they simply did was they just adjusted the draw distance. But the problem with those is that they adjusted the draw distance after you teleport. So therefore, the sim ended up sending the simulator, the Linden Lab Center, ended up sending you the data twice. So what we did when I incorporated the code into Phoenix, what it did is that before you teleport, the draw distance was set to 0 because within the code itself it can detect this. And then after you teleport, you already had your minimum draw distance. So when you enter a new sim, everything that was near you, right near you, was res first, and then it progressively increased it out. And because people were still using these gestures, they were actually causing sim lag. So we ended up simply putting in code to disable the gestures draw distance from a gesture itself. However, you can still put the command line still works, so that people that use it on the command line can still use it. We just simply disable those gestures because they actually did cause lag. But if you want to do it manually, you can do it on the command line if you have that enabled. And that's about it.
I'll just add to that a little bit. So just to summarize that, the viewer can do it better, and the viewer can do it and hurt the simulator less. So basically, what we're doing is making everybody's experience a little bit better and a little bit less laggy, and lightening the load on the Linden Lab servers. One thing that has been requested, and we intend to do, that the gestures did, which our viewer doesn't do right now, which is the ability to use a hotkey to trigger it. So currently the viewer triggers it when you teleport. But something we're going to be adding probably in this next release is a key, a shortcut key somewhere that will basically re-trigger that. So some people were saying that when they're in a sim for a little while, they start to get laggy, and with the gesture they could trigger it, and it would, force a redraw of everything. And so we're going to look into giving users that ability, and so that's about that. I hope that answers that question.
Beautifully, thank you so much. We're going to move to a comment from a remote viewer now who'd like to know, are you planning to have multiple item wear as in SL Viewer 2, where you can wear, for example, 6 jacket layers at one time? Will you be adding the ability to have your avatar facing you again as in SL Viewer 2?
So we would love to be able to do that. And before I say no, we were asked a while back if we were going to have inventory links, and we said probably not. But here we are giving you inventory links. The reality is probably not, though, on multiple wearables, because that code, there's a lot more to that code than inventory links, for example. And again, more work. And so we have a bit of a dilemma, because the more time we spend on the Snow Globe code base, the less time we spend on Viewer 2 code base, our Firestorm project. And so the worry is that at some point when Linden Lab puts out mesh all over the grid, and 1x viewers can't see mesh, we're not going to have a viewer ready for you people to use that will be able to see mesh. So again, our main focus now, once we get this release out, is going to be Viewer 2. And we have to hurry, because we have to get this out and ready for you guys before mesh goes live, or at least shortly after mesh goes live, so that we can continue giving you guys an immersive experience in Second Life. So multiple variables is quite a bit more work, and so probably no, we're not likely going to do that.
She says probably no, but you don't know what the future holds. So again, just all you can do is keep watching and see, because as she said, it was initially said that we weren't going to have linked items, and now we do. So you can keep your fingers crossed, but there's no guarantees, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for your question to the remote viewer.
We will, of course, have it in our Firestorm viewer.
We're going to move on to the next question by Jord Guitar Flashheart. Would it be possible to have a wiki page that will explain how to build the viewer? The instruction on Linden Labs wiki are somewhat confusing and somewhat all over the place.
Vortex, you want to answer that? I thought I heard you breathe in to say something.
No, it
okay,
wasn't me.
I'll answer that.
Basically, I think I'll have to take that one. Yeah, building the viewer is pretty, that's a monumental task for anyone that's starting out building their own project, and there's a lot to learn from it. Unfortunately, every web page or every wiki page that's out there that explains how to build the viewer quickly gets outdated within a month. So that's why you have all these pages with scattered information and all that, because there's basically no way you can keep a page like that updated for all the different viewers and all the changes that we fix. And one of the reasons I am on this project is because I'm doing a lot of build fixes to make that a lot simpler. So all you have to do is just execute one command and it just works. And just recently I just did some fixes in there so that the F mod is automatically downloaded and built with the viewer. So it really helps those people that are building their own clients. And I think that's about it.
Well, and the other problem, the other problem with that also, I'll just add, is that as it is, there's a lot of people, since Emerald Gate, dare I say it, people have been building their own source code, or their own viewer, or they're building, the builds they're running they've compiled themselves a lot more than I think ever before. And I'm sure it's in part, it's a trust issue. People like to be able to see the code that that's in the viewer that they're running. But as an example, our support team is getting hammered by people saying, well, this doesn't compile right, or I'm having this compile error, or I'm having that compile error. And we simply can't support that. Our support people aren't developers. Most of them don't know how to compile a viewer, and they shouldn't have to know how to compile a viewer. They're there to help people with problems with our official releases. And so there's been talk about making a wiki page for people on how to compile, but I'm not sure that I'd like to encourage that too much.
Or at most, then it's going to be the website only, so there's not going to be some live support for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, we simply do not have, even with the number of people we have on support, we don't have the manpower to deal with it. Sorry.
Fair enough. We've actually got quite a few more questions to go, ladies and gentlemen, and I think that you're going to want to hang in here because there are some really, really amazing questions. But what we're going to do is ask what. Probably I'm getting, as many questions as I'm getting. This is a great deal chunk of them. When can users expect the next viewer from you, the next update?
With the next release, I'm going to reluctantly say 2 to 3 weeks.
2 to 3 weeks.
We don't have
We'll
a
see
solid
the next.
date.
Okay.
Yeah, we among the developers, we tend to use what Blizzard does. If Blizzard, the makers of World of Warcraft, they just when they announce release dates and everything, they just simply say when it's ready, and it's basically how we like to do it, when it's ready.
Yes, absolutely, and I think that's probably the only time you should put it up, because we don't want to see a huge debacle or anything like that. But what's interesting?
If we give ourselves a deadline and then we get close to that deadline, the tendency is to rush, and rushing tends to not work very well. So,
never, absolutely.
Yeah, for a case of Rust job that went wrong, Viewer 2 that Lynn Lab put out way too early. That's a classic example right there.
Sarah Hafner has a question, and the first part we've already touched on, which was, will the next version of Phoenix have support for mesh? Obviously, unfortunately, no third-party viewers right now have the ability to import mesh that we know of. They're still that's still shrouded in mystery. But what he does ask is, will the next update of Phoenix be able to support the 40 groups announced in the last Linden's blog post? And will Phoenix also support display names?
Right. Display names, probably not. Again, going back to the same reason, we need to focus on Viewer 2. Whether it'll support the 40 groups or not, we intend to make sure that that's going to work, although there may be some more code behind that client side that we're not aware of yet, and we may not be aware of it until Linen Lab makes that move. So we'll see. We'll do what we can here on the viewer side, but there may be more to it that we're not aware of yet. So we'll need to see the code from Linen Lab in their viewer and see if it's something that we have to add or remove or change viewer side.
Kel Martinick asks a really important question, and this is a bit intriguing also. Are there any plans to extend Phoenix to other worlds like OpenSim and Spot On 3D?
Well, currently Phoenix does work on some of them. Spot On 3D I don't think allows third-party viewers onto their grid currently. And we can't officially support right now. We can't, although our viewer may be able to log into those grids, we can't provide you support for those grids. And there are things that may not work. I think overall most things will continue to work properly. But officially, we're not going to provide official support for other worlds, at least not as we stand right now.
So if you look, edit prefs and grids, there's a really nice interface just in case you want to add another grid. We don't officially support it, but it does make it pretty easy for you to use those, just in case.
Yeah, if you know the grid, the information of the grid you want to log into, you can do that. In fact, there's a list already in there on the login page. Right before you log in, you'll see in the Grid Manager, and you can click that drop down, and you can take a look at some of the other grids that are available for Phoenix. But again, we don't officially support them.
You've discussed your support team a lot, and they've been heralded for the fantastic job that they've done. And I'd just like to amplify that the Phoenix support team is absolutely incredible. And you see a lot of them in our audience today. However, Civic Blindside would like to ask what it takes to become a member of the support team and how to apply to help other Phoenix users.
Ed?
Well, hopefully my mic will accommodate me. Basically, what it takes is helping out in the group. That is how we have been choosing all of our helpers. If you're interested, you can send me a note card with your information and help out in the main group. I do keep an eye on the group and check logs and see who helps and who doesn't.
Just to reiterate what Ed said, in case you had problems hearing him, he did say that they watch the group and they look for people who are particularly helpful, who are really invested, and who take the time and effort to help other people and other users. And if you're interested in joining the team, do consider contacting Ed, providing him your information, and also join the group. Thank you, Ed. I appreciate your response. We're going to go to a question briefly from Princess Nettle, who says, is there any separate group for us non-technical users? I'm finding it difficult to get answers regarding some issues that are non-tech related.
Actually, there is. We have an unofficial group called, Ed, what's the name of it again? It's a lounge. I'll let Ed answer that.
It's the Phoenix Lounge is what it's called. It's available in my profile, and a lot of the support staff, it's in their profile. You can join. It's open.
The Phoenix Lounge is a great place to get your feet wet, basically, to get in there, and you can talk with other Phoenix users as well.
And it's a place to vent. It's a place to chat about stuff. It's not a support group per se, but you will get help in that group. And it is a mature group, and swearing and that kind of naughtiness is allowed in that group.
Thank you for your question, Princess Nettle. Let's go to now. This guy, his name is Watt Denzel. Watt Denzel would like to know, as well as any others, and we've actually had this question before. But we're going to answer it again specifically because there are people who haven't heard, obviously. When you go to a viewer 2 based client, and this is obviously, people are very apprehensive about this because, as we know, viewer 2 essentially, while it's filled with amazing features, the UI fell on its face. However, Watt Denzel would like to know, actually is pleading and says, please tell me that we are not going to lose the current GUI. No one wants the version or viewer 2 GUI. Thanks.
To put it bluntly, no, you're going to have to deal with it. No, I'm kidding. We're going to do what we can. We can't make promises. We can't say that we can. I would love to be able to say we're going to be able to give you the 1.5 UI that you're used to and using right now in the Viewer 2, but the reality is that's not going to happen. The UI is totally different in the Viewer 2, as you can tell, but it's also different code-wise, and it is not friendly, and it's going to be a humongous challenge for us to try to manipulate that UI in such a way that at least looks familiar for you guys. And we've already started looking into ways that we can do that. So we are going to make changes to the UI, absolutely. We don't know what they are yet. All we can say is, hold tight. We're not going to put you on a viewer that we're not willing to use ourselves. And currently, personally, I was on the Mesh viewer yesterday for an hour or two, and I have to admit, Linden Lab has made some advancements in the UI. The sidebar, Rage, is detachable now, and can be split up into tabs, which is a lot easier, I found. And but it still, for the most part, makes me rage and angry. And so, yeah, we're going to make changes to the UI. Absolutely, but we can't promise what those changes will be or to what extent they will be.
Thank you so much, Jessica. Yeah, unfortunately, it's just not in the cards, ladies and gentlemen. We are forced to evolve.
As far as Mac control, I think you're pretty much in a lot of trouble. Grid Proxy is a C# application which is made for Windows, basically. I know there are some workarounds like Mono and maybe some other things to get it. Oh, no, they're not. When it's talking about the wrong things.
Squid then.
Yeah, they were talking about Squid Proxy. TechWolf can probably answer that.
Yeah, that one is mine. Because I'm the one that got it together and everything else. Unfortunately, it's on a Linux system, and that's what it's mostly used on, so that's why my wiki is for Linux users. However, we do have a couple Windows users here, and I have been pestering them to update that page with Windows information on there, because I no longer run a Windows box I can test it on. So that's why I've been pestering them to get that up there, get the information up there. And in fact, one of them I think has already got edit rights on that page. You know, feel free to put the Windows information on there. And as far as Mac, you pretty much follow the same instructions, but I'm not sure. Mac developer have to correct the pass because I don't know how the pass are done. Because a Mac system is basically it runs Unix programs without problems.
Thank you. Thank you, TechWolf. Okay, now we've got two last questions. This question is from Hope Dryer. Will there be a release support? Will there be a release that supports the SIM console?
Oh, well, actually, to be honest, we haven't talked about that, and quite frankly, it's useless as it is right now for us. That's a console that is designed for the Lindens. And I know a little bit about it from Oscar's office hour. From what I understand, there will only be one function in that whole console that an estate owner can use. So probably not, no.
Okay. Well, it looks like, ladies and gentlemen, we are going to wrap up. That pretty much takes care of all of the questions that we've got on the agenda for today. I'd like to thank Jessica Lyon for joining us. Now, Jessica, just to recap briefly before we make our exit, there's numerous things coming to the next. I was particularly enchanted by the Winlight options that people are going to have with being able to share Winlight settings and with being able to allow people to control Winlight settings. Now, a question that I have is, will that be visible to people who visit the sim? Will they actually be able to see it, or will they have to click on a box and share the Winlight settings?
Well, it depends. We're not quite sure exactly how we're going to do it, but right now we're discussing, as it stands right now, I can send you a little note card, and it'll land in your inventory, and you can click it, and instantly your environment will match what is on that note card and what's saved on that note But we're also discussing the ability, because estate owners have asked for a long time for the ability to set their region atmosphere the way they like it and have other users see it. So we're discussing ways of perhaps making it possible for estate owners to deed an object to their the land group that owns that land, and have that box send the users a note card, which would pop up a dialogue and basically ask the user, that the estate owner would like you to, load these wind light settings. Would you like to do so? And they can click OK or click No. So we're not sure if that part of it will be in this release, but as it is right now, I can send other users, a note card, and you'll be able to click it and see the environment as that note card states. Also, just to note, we're a little bit behind on that feature. There's a bunch of third-party viewers out there right now that already have this feature. And so you'll be able to do this crossed. So if, for example, I'm pretty sure Imprudence has this feature, so you'll be able to send somebody to Imprudence, or somebody that's on Imprudence, you'll be able to send them a Winlight note card, and they'll be able to see it as well, or vice versa.
All right, Jessica,
yes,
in closing.
Princess suggested a group notice, that these note cards can be sent in group notices, absolutely.
Oh, fantastic. So then everybody can sort of have a shared experience with their environment. Yeah. Which is the one thing that we've been missing. That's been the one disconnect from Second Life that we've had for so long, is traditionally when we go to see something, be it an artist installation or whatever, it's usually, everybody's seeing differently because everybody has different wind light settings. Yeah. So it gives actually people who want to create an experience through an environment the ability to control that more precisely. And I think that's going to be absolutely wonderful. But Jessica, in closing, why don't you tell our audience about the Halloween party? When is this Halloween party that everybody's going to go and get their Phoenix on?
Right. So we do have a Halloween party on 30th of October. And it's going to be a huge party because, we've got 65,000 people that might want to be there. And we've only got one sim. And we're not sure what the avatar or agent limit we're going to put on that sim is yet. The sim does have quite a few scripts running already because of all the Halloween decorations and stuff, although it's fairly healthy at the moment. So we'll have to see. We expect it will probably crash a few times. But we're going to have a live DJ. We don't have a time yet, so we haven't got all the details, and we're not prepared to give you the location yet. But keep an eye on our website blog on our front page, or follow us on Twitter, and as soon as we announce that, you will be the first to find out.
Exciting, and don't forget you can join the groups. Whirly Fizzle, who is my girl, is out there in the audience, and she will post links for you so that you can join the Phoenix Lounge, or the Phoenix support team. She'll also give you a link to the official Phoenix viewer website. Ladies and gentlemen, I am Faylene Fairchild for Rezzed.TV. The wonderful company that I'm in is the development team of the Phoenix Viewer. You are watching the Phoenix Hour, and I thank each and every one of you for joining us. And we will see you here again in 2 weeks, right here, same place, same time. Have a wonderful week.